Hey guys, so we got some pretty substantial PvP changes. So we're gonna go ahead and go over these. To start off with, I kind of just go over some tuning. So Druid gets a bunch of changes between Balance and Feral mostly, Devastation, Hunters and all specs, Mistweavers, and Shadow Priests seem to be getting a rework again. So you can see there's quite a bit of changes for them, which is surprising that Shamans haven't really gotten anything. Like these are the most enhanced changes I've seen in a while that haven't been a severe nerf. I don't know if these changes are overall nerf or buff. I'd have to look at them more in depth, but that'll be for probably another video. And then here's where the big changes come. So PvP, critical strikes now deal 150% of base damage, and healing in PvP combat was 175%. So basically, your critical strikes will do 25% less damage. Now, this affects some specs more than others. So, for example, my Elemental Shaman relies heavily on talents like Skybreaker's Fiery Demise, where it increases your Flame Shock's base crit chance by 50%. And so that relies a lot on crit, but it's also one of our highest damaging abilities, mostly because of that. And Lava Burst, which relies on Flame Shocks, always crit if you have a flame shock on the target. And so this also severely depends on your critical strike damage. And if our critical strike damage is getting nerfed by 25%, we're going to be doing significantly less damage, especially since both of those abilities rely on almost always critical strikes. And there are some other specs as well that rely on critical strikes, like Ellie. But to just basically generalize, there are certain specs that will get affected by this more than others. And the fact that they didn't really say anything about that or compensate anywhere for that seems a bit weird, because now I'm just expecting Blizzard to do the Blizzard thing, which is just wait until it becomes a problem and then fix and then throw a band-aid at it. And that's been the case for quite a while now. So the next thing is precog has been removed. So precog is that PvP talent where if you try to juke someone by casting something and then stopping before they kick you, so that basically waste their kick, you'll also get the precog effect, which makes you immune to CC, stuns, interrupts, everything, and basically just lets you free cast for a few seconds, which is kind of funny that that's the only time you can feel reliant on free casting. But they didn't do it away with it completely, so now you can craft it onto gear. So instead of it just being in PvP talent, now you actually have to craft it onto gear, which I think is a bit weird that they're like basically forcing casters only, because casters are the only ones that really need precog. They're forcing casters to have to do this extra step in order to basically have fun in the game. And I mean, precog kind of is, it's very strong, but it's only strong because of how much emphasis they've had to put on casters' abilities because of the fact that they can't ever cast. So it's like, well, when they can cast, they have to do a lot more damage to basically balance out the damage. And that's why we're in this problem, because Blizzard just lets Melee get away with way too much damage in CC over time that they've had to compensate casters in this weird way. And so precog is actually very strong, but it's weird that you're also forcing casters to get this on gear by crafting. So I don't know. Seems a bit weird to me, but so another big change is they're changing how CC works. Now this change isn't as major as people are making it sound. So you have a PvP set that you get with the trinkets, which reduces CC effects by like 10%. And then you can get a crafted piece of gear, which will reduce it by another 5% up to 15 max total. And so basically, whenever you'd get CC'd, it would last 15% less time. And they're reducing a lot of CC effects, which I'll get down here after the interrupts. But basically, it's going to balance itself out in a lot of ways. So the interrupts, you can see a bunch of classes here get their interrupt durations reduced, which this kind of sucks for shamans. It's like the lowest interrupt in the game, which I mean kind of makes sense since Wind Shear is such a short cooldown and it's ranged. But to reduce it down to 2 seconds to where you can barely even get off a hex, maybe, like that's such a short time to react to something. I kind of wish they would have just made this 3 seconds and made wind shear maybe like a couple seconds longer cooldown or something. I don't know, maybe to match up with whatever these are, but yeah, I don't know. It feels kind of bad for that, but so the CC changes, as you can see here, all these classes are getting a bunch of CC effect reductions, and they're all reductions. So there's not a single thing on here that went up in time. Everything went down. But the confusion seems to be here because say like blinding sleet here was 5 seconds, went down to 4 seconds, but now the CC effect trinket isn't there anymore. And so if you had a 5-second CC effect for, like, say, blinding sleet right here, so 15% of 5 is 0.75. So if we do 5 minus 0.75, it would have been 4.25 seconds. So this is how long a CC effect would have lasted against someone that had the PvP set with the boots. And I'm assuming all that's getting changed. I'm not even sure if the boots are being removed or not, but so basically this was 4.25 seconds and it's getting reduced down to 4 seconds. So it's still getting nerfed, but it's not like this catastrophic mega change that people are thinking it's going to be. I mean, some of them might be substantial in a way, but like generally it's pretty balanced out with removing the trinket set and stuff. And now they actually have some class changes, but those are all basically the PvP changes that were important. Again, there's a lot of changes here. Some aren't as big as you think they are. Some are pretty dramatic and causing impact. Let me know what you guys think about all these changes down below in the comments section, and I'll see you guys next time.